my side. Good afternoon to all our participants. My name is Silvia Radgeb. I'm responsible for SAP University Alliances in Austria. I'm very much looking forward to this next session on sustainability, which will be presented by Daniel Schmid. Daniel Schmid is SAP's Chief Sustainability Officer. He holds a degree in industrial engineering, started his career in IT consulting, had various management positions before he started his sustainability journey within SAP. We want to ask you to put your questions that you will have into the chat, and Daniel will also take some time at the end to answer all your questions. Now, enjoy the session and handing over to Daniel. Thank you.
Thank you, Sylvia, and a warm welcome to all of you. What a pleasure talking to you, because I know for you as a student, the topic of sustainability is of such high relevance, and I know that many of you are super passionate about the topic like I am. So the purpose of this session is to show you SAP is definitely not perfect. We are on a journey, but we are seen as a thought leader and a front runner in that space. And I would like to explain that through going through 3 chapters. First, I would like to start with why sustainability has become such an important business topic, followed by what we have learned so far on our journey, and then third and final, how we apply it, what is our strategic approach when it comes to sustainability. So let me start with answering the why question. And I would say you all have listened for sure for many press and media coverage of what happened in Glasgow at COP26, the climate conference. By the way, the first time I joined a climate conference, and I learned from the participants being more experienced than I'm, that business was now all over the place, and that was not the case in the years before. But that is another proof point why sustainability has become a core business topic. And here, what a nice and important statement. We are the greatest problem solvers to have ever existed on Earth. If working apart, we are force powerful enough to destabilize our planet. Surely working together, we are powerful enough to save it. So you see, there's clear urgency needed. There's skepticism as well, but we need optimism in order to tackle our huge challenges we have in society and as well from a planetary perspective. And I guess you agree with all these aspects being visualized on that slide. Let me start with the social dimension, and the social dimension is as well connected with the environmental dimension and with the economic dimension. So all these topics are integrated and connected, but it cannot be the case that 1 out of 9 people in the world are still going to bed hungry every day. Unbelievable. Or think about the current pandemic that leads to even having more people living in poverty. We were successful in the past years to bring down the number of people living in conditions being defined as poverty. But unfortunately, due to the pandemic, there was we went back to old behaviors, and yeah, that is a huge issue we see here. When it comes to the topic of the climate crisis, it's unbelievable. Even we have countries being in lockdown here. Second largest annual rise of global greenhouse gas emissions. We are far away from the 1.5 commitment from the Paris Agreement here. So we need to do business in a different way. We can't continue like we did in the past and just being more efficient. That will not solve these challenges. Yeah, and we behave like having 3 planets and not just one Earth we live at. So that leads me to the next slide, coming from these clear observations where we all have that joint point of view. But let me put that now through the lens of businesses. And let me start with all of us, with you, with me, in our role as a consumer. We change our consumer behaviors. We prefer the products being perceived by ourselves being more sustainable than the ones being not so sustainable. This is valid for the packaging, and this number was now updated every 4 weeks, I would say, in the past year. And that is, of course, part of the overall beautiful business case, that you can combine being more sustainable with as well driving good business. When it comes to our own employees at SAP, 94% of all the 100,000 people working at SAP told us how important it is for them that SAP pursues sustainability seriously. And I know for you it's even more important. So for the talents, you would like to be an attractive employer, that you apply for a job at our company. For you, it's even more important. So that is another very important element when you think about the overall business case and when it comes to employer branding. There's such a lot of things going on when it comes to regulation, legislation. It's not only about touching the environmental perspective here with that example of carbon pricing initiatives all over the world. It is as well about ensuring human rights, labor standards are fulfilled across the entire value chain. Think about what we call in Germany now the Lieferketten-Sorgfaltspflichtengesetz. We Germans are crazy to create words like this. So it's about the human rights due diligence in your supply chain and value chain, including your own operations. But in the UK, we have the Modern Slavery Act, or as well the Modern Slavery Act in Australia, and more to come, or to come up with creating more transparency for stakeholders. So there are clear guidelines and legislation in place that you need to report as a company about not only your financial, but as well about your non-financial performance. The investors. 10 years ago at SAP, we had 5.6% of investors coming from that niche called socially responsible investors. So investors applying sustainability standards in order to decide if they should purchase shares of a company or not. This niche market has developed, and the mainstream investors learn from these SRIs. Oh, it makes a lot of sense to embed sustainability criteria in your analysis in order to do your portfolio decisions, because you reduce the risks and you increase the opportunities. So it leads as well to a better performance of your portfolio. So now 38.2% are invested in SAP shares coming from that socially responsible investors and applying sustainability standards in their investment decision. What a beautiful business case for us as well, touching on that important stakeholder group, because they are not short-term, but mid and long-term oriented in our share, and of course, we love them. And all these increased stakeholder expectations lead to that the decision makers, the leaders of the company, the CEOs see sustainability is a core business topic. And I would say the 38% who have not yet understood that, they have a huge risk that their business is not existing anymore mid and long term. Just 2 weeks ago, I was invited by Daimler to their sustainability dialogue, and their executive board member, she said, there's either sustainable business or no business. And that is a statement from a board member of an automotive company. And you may have not heard things like that, these statements in the past years, but now you will hear that more and more often. So that leads me, covering the first part of my presentation, with answering the question, why sustainability is such a core business topic, to sharing in the second part some of our learnings. And don't go through that slide by reading each and every item. I will pick some of these topics so just listen to me, over the voice. And we started with our journey more than 10 years ago. So it's definitely not a buzzword for us. It is a topic for many, many years. And I remember that time, beginning of 2009, when I reached out to our executive board members, ensuring having their buy-in to agree on our first emission reduction target. And the idea was by 2020, we would like to bring down our emissions to 2000 levels. 2020 back to 2000. It was an absolute target. During that time, most of the companies came up with relative targets, efficiency targets. It was an absolute target. And I know these discussions with the board members, they told me, oh, Daniel, but in 2020, we would like to be 4 times bigger than in 2000. And we proved to be 4 times bigger at that time. So that's very ambitious. How will we achieve it? And I told them, I don't know. Then they looked at me, Daniel, you don't know how to achieve that target, but you suggest and recommend such a target. And I said, yes, because by having such a bold, ambitious target, we will start to think differently. We will start to be innovative and creative. We will allocate budgets in a different way. So really changing the way how we conduct business. And let me share some of these examples here when it comes to the greenhouse gas emissions and an ambition target. So as an example, in 2016, we introduced an internal price on carbon. So independent of what legislation is coming up with price on carbon, we already did it more than 5 years ago to introduce that. And it's so great. So Sylvia, as an example, maybe you don't know it. If you sit in a plane, I know currently due to the pandemic almost not happening, but if you would sit in a plane on behalf of SAP, Daniel gets money. So the controlling team of SAP did a wonderful job with a very simple approach, ensuring that we can follow our avoidance reduction compensation strategy. Avoidance, reduction, compensation, and for the flights, we still need to compensate. So that empowers me, having the money in my hands to go for the gold standard, so for the high standard when it comes to carbon offsets. Another point on that journey was a key milestone in 2017. So already 3 years ahead, we achieved the 2020 target. So as the next natural step, we defined to become carbon neutral by 2025. But you see here in 2021, oh, there it stands 2023. So we made the decision based on the learnings of the pandemic, having almost no business travel anymore, less commuting efforts, getting to the office and back home again. We are convinced that we apply the learnings, even the pandemic would be over, and more moving towards a hybrid world. Like today's meeting with all of you, yeah, doing that in an online form. Why not continuing to some extent with things like that? So we decided to pull forward our 2025 target by 2 years, and now we would like to be carbon neutral by 2023. A major milestone was January 2014, because there we combined the business strategy with the environmental strategy, saying the tagline of our business strategy during that time was being the most innovative cloud company. And then I said to our former CEO, Bill McDermott, we should offer our customers our solutions through a green cloud, meaning running all data centers, including the co-locations from our partners, by 100% renewables of high quality. And he said yes, and we did it not only for the data centers, but all for the offices or for the charging stations for our electric fleet. So meaning worldwide, globally, all locations of SAP are run by 100% renewables, including the data centers. Another story to share now is the milestone in 2012. And I remember when a colleague came to my office and she said, oh, Daniel, Systemity seems to be not any more important for SAP. And I was shocked. So if you put yourself in my shoes, working every day so hard and being so passionate about the topic, I was shocked. Why is she saying that to me? And I asked her, why you are saying that? And she said, we don't publish any more Systemity report. And I was so proud. Not having any more the annual financial report and next to it the Systemity report, but saying because of that material impact as well on our financial performance, we need to go an integrated way going forward. So obviously I made a mistake not to communicate that accurately. So that means we are there in that space, a front runner and a thought leader. I just learned recently, as an example, BMW published their first integrated report now, just a few months ago. So I don't go for completeness here. You see much more topics listed, but the key learning of that journey over the past decade was, don't go for sustainability strategy, but go for business strategy, which is a sustainable one. And I know you already, or many of you, listened to my colleague and friend, Sebastian Steinhäuser, running our corporate strategy. And he talked as well about sustainability, and it's greatly embedded there. So that is the key learning. And that leads me to the third and final chapter, talking about our strategic approach, where you see it's so important that you embed sustainability in your core business strategy, starting with the vision. Our new vision is to reinvent how the world runs as a network of intelligent, sustainable enterprises, and moving from an intelligent, sustainable enterprise to business network to a sustainable world, which is needed for all of us. Sustainability is clearly a business topic. You can't solve the issues alone, and you need to share data. You need data in a consistent fashion, in a timely manner, at the point of the decision in your hands. And that is the key business challenge decision makers have in the companies, that they don't have these data. They have, as an example, their greenhouse gas emission data 4 or 5 months later after the fiscal year is over. Then you can't steer your business. And to have the data, you need the data as well from your suppliers, from your own operations, from your logistic partner, from third-party providers, and so there are so many different sources you need to connect. So it's a business network topic, yeah. And when you think about the movement, which is heavily needed towards circular economy, it's obvious it's a business network topic. And SAP is so greatly positioned because we have the deep business process understanding, we have the industry experience, and we have the business network experience. So we have that unique advantage to embed sustainability now here in the data models of our solutions, providing the data in a consistent fashion to our customers. That will make a huge, huge difference. And that leads me to the next slide, showing you what we call internally the burger slide here, where sustainability management is center stage. Coming from that idea, you need to embed sustainability criteria in the business model, in the data model, ensuring you have your business processes under control, and sustainability is an integral part of it. Let me explain that in more detail. Coming from our purpose, which is by itself already such a strong and powerful sustainability statement, help the world run better and improve people's lives. And we activate that purpose through sustainability, having that broad understanding and definition. It's about creating positive economic, environmental, and social impact within the planetary boundaries. Very important. So as in a nutshell, a good life for all of us within planetary boundaries. And SAP has to fulfill 2 roles. One is only by having that ambition to be a role model, an exemplar of a sustainable company, we learn a lot and we gain the credibility in order to act as an enabler. But of course, being an enabler, having more than 400,000 customers in all industries and sectors across the globe, we really can create such a big positive economic, environmental, and social impact. So being an enabler is key. And together with our customers, we agreed on these 4 priorities. Let me talk briefly on climate action, higher on the agenda of our customers across all industries. And I mentioned already the topic of having the data in the hands just 4 or 5 months later, but that is not enough. You need it in a timely fashion, and mainly decisions are made on a product level. So you need the data on a product level, and our answer to that business challenge is having product footprint management. Another topic is circular economy, strongly linked to climate action. 45% positive contribution through moving from linear value chains, digging something out of the earth, producing a product, using the product, and then it goes to landfill. What a nonsense. We need to stop that. We need to design products in a way with a mindset in place of zero waste at all, to close the loop and not going anymore this linear journey going forward. So 45% positive contribution coming from circular economy on bringing down greenhouse gas emissions. The topic of social responsibility. For me, human rights are the center and should be the center of each and every sustainability journey at a company. We have many solutions already for many years here, helping our customers to improve their performance when it comes to their social responsibility. For the ones being technically more interested from you, it's an open technology. It's, as I mentioned, embedded in the business process. It is a network topic, and it touches all the key business processes. And we have new products underway. Just in August, we launched a product footprint management solution. By the way, all these solutions are developed in a joint effort. We call it co-innovation methodology together with our customers. And it's quite an interesting task to select the right ones helping you on the journey. But we had so many companies applying for, oh, I would like to be part of that journey, being a co-innovation partner. And so we had that luxury situation to select the right ones on that, helping us to develop that solution, but as well the solution which is called responsible design and production, and the solution of the sustainability control tower fitting to what I just forget to mention as a key priority, holistic steering reporting. Not only fulfilling the increased expectations from stakeholders and fulfilling the legislation when it comes to reporting, but even more importantly, to steer your business holistically. Moving away from just that mindset, optimized decisions, or your decisions are based on optimized financial outcome, but considering really the impact you create on society and on the planet, and in economic terms, and having that holistic view. It's an open architecture using API because you need to connect not only with SAP systems, but as well with other systems. And our partners help us a lot as well here. So it's not just about creating these solutions by our own, but we partner like Accenture's helping us in the circular economy space. With that, I would like to, I mentioned already these topics, just interesting a few weeks ago in the context of Glasgow, the climate conference, we announced that we will allow only emission-free cars being purchased from 2025 on. Yeah, quite an emotional topic. But me personally, I would say first, an electric car is, no car is better than an electric car, and using public transport and that. I use an electric car, pure electric car since 2014. I love that car, and it's there are more power plugs available than gas stations, so it's never an issue to get from A to B. I don't go here in detail on the details, but you see we do a lot about chasing zero inequality. Chasing zero is our overall marketing slogan. Zero emissions, zero inequality, zero waste. Yeah, you see that is the change we need in businesses, and allow really for questions. But I would like to stop my presentation with what I mentioned at the beginning. The purpose of the presentation is that you see it's not a buzzword for us. It's a journey where we are already quite a while underway. We receive great feedbacks being listed here. Just recently, 2 weeks ago, we were informed that we are again the number one in the software industry, far ahead of others who make much more noise than we do in the market. We would like to change that, being bold then with the messaging as well. And stay tuned. In January, we will go big there. But you see across all the various ratings and rankings, we are perceived as the thought leader and front runner. With that, I'm happy to answer any questions from your side.
Thank you, Daniel. There are a few questions. I would like to start with one. I think you already answered it partially. What do you mean with carbon neutral? You mean getting all of your electricity from renewable sources, or getting everything in the company emissions-free, new construction, zero e-waste, etc.?
That's an important topic, and unfortunately, people like me and my peers are so crazy creating such a huge confusion in the market with different terminology, net zero, carbon positive, carbon negative, climate negative, whatever. So in our case, carbon neutral by 2023 means the so-called scope 1 emissions, scope 2 emissions, that is what you have directly under control, where you purchase the gas for your company car fleet, where you purchase the energy, renewable or non-renewable, being part of your emissions. And then we selected as well many emission sources from the so-called scope 3. So when we purchase a ticket for the airplane, that is then maybe Lufthansa or another airline purchasing the gas for it, the kerosene, but we have a responsibility because we are purchasing the ticket. So I don't go in all the details about the greenhouse gas protocol and how emissions are calculated and aggregated and reported, but we have that ambition, yes, to what we already did since 2014, applying or using completely renewables, and following that 3-pillar approach: avoid emissions, reduce emissions, and compensate. So for the rest, we compensate as well. So yes, great point. Can I take the question from Maximilian Lena? What is your opinion on greenwashing? That is so important. By the way, there's as well this topic of which is called now SDG washing. Yeah, there's Sustainable Development Goals, these 17 goals defined by the United Nations some years ago, which is as well for us an important framework. And you are the ones being so sensitive. If a company meaning it really seriously or just doing it for reputational reasons and just doing it with a marketing message. You are the ones you decide with your consumption and buying behaviors. So be critical. I always look at companies if their business strategy is sustainable or if they still separate business strategy, sustainability strategy. Then I'm always skeptical. When it comes to hydrogen, I just continue. I see the questions here in front of me. Thank you, Silvia. Yes, there is a program in place with hydrogen, and of course, here as well, you need data. You need data to ensure you have the value chain for hydrogen under control. So we are here co-innovating with partners there as well. And that is as well for other innovations. We have a sustainability radar in place and looking at various topics, having as well a startup SAP IO platform in place, internally and externally, startup mentality, where a lot of white space are fulfilled by them and with great innovation coming from them. And there are important topics like hydrogen or fuel cells, or think about battery management and so on. The most important sustainability KPIs for SAP, at the end, it's about creating the impact, and that is still difficult to measure. And I don't want to come up with big numbers because that would be greenwashing. The impact we create through our solutions, that is the most important KPI, but unfortunately, we have not yet a robust methodology how to measure that. So we have KPIs in our own operations like greenhouse gas emissions, like women in management, employee retention, employee engagement, customer loyalty, things like that are the key topics coming to my mind.
Maybe one more question, Daniel, because we are a little bit over time. already.
Yeah, I see
So
that, and I see already the evolution. So help me. Which one? Whoa, there are more questions. I've not seen them. Which should I pick?
Well,
There's
challenge,
the
biggest challenge for
1.5.
you, maybe?
No, I picked the 1.5 because that is so super important for all of us. For the soccer fans of you, you need to know I'm come from the Betzenberg, so I'm a big support on fan. It's my blood to be support of Kaiserslautern, and I learned through that you need to be optimistic. Yeah, even playing in the third league now, and that is my attitude. And I'm optimistic because I believe in the innovation power of us, of human beings, but it is still, we are on such a critical path and urgent action is needed. And I don't want to look anymore at any pledges or commitments. It's about action, and action speak louder than words. And that is what needed. And we are currently at 1.1 degree, and you already see what's happening. Hard to imagine what's happening about 1.5, but above 1.5, even scientists do not know anymore what will happen. So it's so crucial that we stay below 1.5. And I'm optimistic. But I count on you as well.
Great. So thanks a lot, Daniel. Thanks for this interesting presentation with all your insights. There's many more questions coming up. We are trying to answer most of them. You will also get the recording afterwards, and we're trying to answer all the questions. Thanks a lot. Wishing you a great afternoon. Thanks to Daniel. Thanks to all the participants, and bye-bye.
Thank you, Silvia. Bye-bye.